It's July. The air is thick with humidity. The pads are about to start popping. And deep in Berea, Ohio, one name is suddenly commanding more attention than any other. Sheduer Sanders. Not Deshaun Watson. Not Kenny Pickett. Not even Dylan Gabriel. The so-called safe bet behind center. Nah. The buzz? The tension? The cameras? They're all starting to turn in one direction. And let's just say, Zach Jackson isn't the only insider catching on. Because while some analysts are still stuck debating whether a fifth-round pick can realistically be QB1, Sheduer's out here rewriting that script one laser throw at a time. If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed. But let's start with Zach Jackson's quote that broke Browns Twitter for 48 hours straight. He's the best quarterback I've seen drafted in the 4th or 5th round in years. You can feel the room change when he's under center. Yeah, that's not fluff. That's not a courtesy comment. That's an NFL insider, plugged into the culture of the building, saying, this kid is different. But here's the twist. Despite those glowing reviews, the Browns still haven't handed him the keys. Why? Because the quarterback situation in Cleveland is a full-blown circus act. We got Deshaun Watson, haunted by rust and a bloated contract. We've got Kenny Pickett, trying to prove his Pittsburgh flameout wasn't the real him. We got Dylan Gabriel, a rookie with polished but inconsistent reps. And then there's Sheduer, the afterthought, the backup's backup, the guy who wasn't supposed to be here, yet somehow keeps climbing the depth chart one smart decision at a time. Training camp hasn't even officially started, but if you ask the people who've actually watched practices, seen the tape, and talked to players in the locker room, the verdict is becoming clearer. Sheduer Sanders might be the Browns' best hope for real stability at quarterback. Not in 3 years. Not eventually. Now, let's break this down. The Browns have built a reputation, fair or not, for mishandling quarterbacks like it's a hobby. From Johnny Manziel to Baker Mayfield to the Deshaun Gamble. It's been more plot twist than a Shonda Rhimes drama. Fans have whiplash. The locker room? Even worse. And now, suddenly, they've got a guy who's doing everything right, but the team won't fully commit to letting him lead. Sheduer's game isn't built on flash or TikTok hype. It's built on timing, discipline, pocket presence, reading coverages like they're second nature. He's not winning fans with gimmicks. He's winning trust by doing the thing that actually matters, executing the offense like a pro. And that trust? That's not easy to earn in an NFL locker room. Ask any veteran player. Trust doesn't come from charisma or family name. It comes from how you prepare, how you carry yourself. Whether you can walk into a huddle of grown men, many of them 10 years older, and command silence when you speak. Sheduer does that. And that's exactly what Zach Jackson saw when he made that now infamous comment. So, let's look at why he's not being handed the job outright. First, politics. It sounds ridiculous, but quarterback battles in the NFL aren't just about skill. They're about contracts, image, and legacy. Deshaun Watson can't ride the bench without the front office admitting they may have made the most expensive mistake in franchise history. Kenny Pickett was a trade acquisition that came with at least a mild expectation of rescue mission attached. Dylan Gabriel was drafted higher than Sheduer. That matters more than it should. And Sheduer? He's the wild card no one wanted to admit they needed. That's why this battle feels so tense. Because it's not just about who throws the prettiest deep ball in camp. It's about who the organization is willing to bet on, even if the fans and players are already whispering that the answer is obvious. Now, Sheduer's response to all this? Silence. Grind. Discipline. He hasn't thrown shade. He hasn't posted passive-aggressive captions. He hasn't asked for more reps or leaked frustration to the media. Instead, he's been spotted perfecting his footwork in the Cleveland cold, running drills in the rain back in Miami, posting midnight sprints in Dallas. The message is clear. He's not waiting to be handed a shot. He's building his own path to the throne. And that path leads straight to July 25th, because that's the day it all becomes real. That's when the pads come on. The depth charts start to harden. The decisions start to count. And for Sheduer Sanders, that's not a deadline. That's a debut. He's not walking into camp hoping to keep up. He's walking in ready to take over. Now, here's the wild part. The Browns could still blow this. They could still stick to the narrative. He's not ready yet. Let's protect him from the pressure. Let him learn from the bench. But if you've actually watched the tape, if you've seen how Sheduer handles blitz pickups, play action, tight red zone windows, he doesn't look like a player who needs protecting. He looks like a player who's ready to protect the franchise from itself. There's this quote floating around the building, unconfirmed, but sourced from someone in the Browns front office. He's making it really uncomfortable to ignore him. That's the truth, and that's the power of preparation. You can't hide greatness when it shows up early. And while Dillon Gabriel might be the system fit on paper, and Kenny Pickett might have a few more years on his belt, the eye test doesn't lie. Sheduer sees the game slower than they do. He plays faster. He anticipates, not reacts. And more importantly, he wins the room. Players follow him. They like how he operates. They like that he doesn't ask for credit. He asks for clarity. He'll sit down with the tight ends coach after practice, review a rep with a backup corner just to get the timing down, stand next to O-line drills just to hear the protections being taught. That's not ego. That's leadership. And that's what Zach Jackson and now others are trying to signal. This isn't hype. It's a problem for the coaching staff, because if Sheduer looks this polished by week 1 of camp, it forces them to either make the brave call or admit they're scared of shaking up the plan. But here's the problem with plans. They don't mean much once the ball gets snapped. So the Browns have a choice to make. Stick with what's safe, or ride with a player who's already making believers out of skeptics. And fans? They're already picking sides. Instagram comments, Reddit threads, Twitter memes. Training camp tickets are selling faster than usual, just to see if number 2 takes that first team rep. The energy is shifting, and you can't fake that. So to wrap this up, Sheduer Sanders isn't just trying to make the roster. He's trying to make history. As a rookie no one expected, who came into a quarterback mess and brought calm to the chaos. The Browns' quarterback carousel has spun for too long. Maybe the answer was never about finding a flashy veteran or overpaying for a redemption story. Maybe it was just about recognizing when the right guy was already in the room. Sheduer Sanders is here. He's locked in. And July 25th, that's not pressure. That's opportunity. Because here's the thing no one's saying out loud yet, but it's written all over those practice fields in Berea. If Sheduer Sanders keeps this up, the Browns can't afford to play it safe. Not with a defense this good. Not with fans this hungry. Not with the clock ticking on an AFC North that gets nastier every season. They've seen what playing it safe gets them. It gets them mediocrity, missed playoffs, headlines about potential instead of performance. What they need now, what Sheduer represents, is boldness, change, the type of player who doesn't flinch when you throw the whole weight of a franchise at him. He's not auditioning for a backup job. He's staging quiet coup, and he's doing it the right way. No drama, no ego, just precision, poise, and presence. Every player who's lined up next to him sees it. Every scout who watches him drop a ball into a receiver's hands 35 yards downfield sees it. Every assistant coach whispering to the coordinator after practice sees it. They know he's not just ready. He's already ahead. The excuses? They're evaporating. The too raw label doesn't hold up after watching him outplay guys with years of NFL tape. The too much noise take collapses under the weight of the actual silence Sheduer keeps while outworking the noise. Even the whole he's only here because of Dion argument, it's dead. Because no last name can fake anticipation on a slant route or escape pressure from Myles Garrett in a live drill. Only one thing does that, talent that was overlooked and is now undeniable. So when training camp kicks into full gear and the Browns finally have to line up all 4 quarterbacks and decide who gets the first preseason snaps, we'll see what kind of team this really is. Are they loyal to reputation, or are they loyal to results? Because Zach Jackson didn't say Sheduer was promising. He didn't say he might be something in a few years. He said Sheduer Sanders is the best quarterback he's seen taken that late in years. That's not a compliment. That's a challenge. To the coaches, to the decision makers, to every doubter who still thinks rookie means not ready. So when the fans pack the stadium on opening day, they'll have one question in mind as the offense takes the field. Is the best guy playing, or is the safest guy playing? Because the moment Sheduer steps into a game, even a preseason one, and starts putting together real drives with rhythm and efficiency, the excuses won't matter anymore. He'll have already answered the question for them. And make no mistake, this is more than quarterback battle. This is a culture shift, from inconsistency to identity, from potential to performance, from hype to leadership. And Sheduer Sanders is already walking that path like he's been here before. So if the Browns want to win, not just games, but trust momentum and a real future, they don't need another reboot. They need to make the move everyone's already thinking about. Start Sheduer. Let him lead. Let the chips fall where they may. Because at this point, the only thing riskier than putting the rookie in is keeping him out. And when that moment finally comes, when he jogs out onto the field, calm as ever, helmet on, eyes locked downfield, there won't be any more debates. No more doubt. No more questions about is he ready? There'll just be one thought echoing through the stadium, from fans, from teammates, even from the critics who try to count him out. He was ready the whole time. So what do you think? Are we witnessing the birth of Cleveland's next franchise quarterback? Or will the Browns stick with what's familiar and miss the moment? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget, subscribe for more breakdowns, hot takes, and the unfolding legend of Sheduer Sanders. Because if this offseason has taught us anything, it's that the underdog stories, they're just getting started. You want to know what separates Sheduer Sanders from every other quarterback walking into Browns camp this summer? It's not just the arm. It's not just the name. It's the control. Control the huddle. Control the rhythm. Control the chaos. Because let's be real, Browns camp is chaos. It always is. Every year it's a new cast of quarterbacks, a new narrative, a new strategy, a new sense of this might finally be the one. And every year, that storyline goes off the rails by midseason, sometimes by week 3. But Sheduer, he's not part of that cycle. He's a disruption to it. When he walks into a drill, something changes. The tempo picks up. The offense sharpens. Coaches stop whispering and start watching. The vibe is different. Less hope, more execution. And maybe that's what has people like Zach Jackson speaking up. Because what they're seeing now doesn't match what was written on paper back in April. You remember what that scouting report said, right? Decent upside. Smart but inconsistent. Not a year one contributor. Needs time. Yeah, well, that was then. This is now. And what they're seeing now is a quarterback who reads the field like a veteran, who anticipates blitz packages, who doesn't flinch when Garrett or Darius Smith come flying in during live reps, a quarterback who makes the smart throw, not the flashy one. Let's talk about that for a second, because that alone is rare. In camp, it's easy to get caught chasing the viral throw, the 50-yard bomb that gets clipped and reposted with dramatic music and the caption, QB1 loading. But that's not Sheduer's game. Not right now. He's not here to go viral. He's here to win a job. So when the coaches roll out the script, 10 plays, 11 on 11, full speed, the thing that stands out isn't the deep ball. It's the control, the timing, the rhythm. Quick slant, on the money, drag route on 3rd and 4, perfectly led into open space. Back shoulder fade against tight man coverage, place where only his receiver can get it. And you know what else is happening? Receivers are starting to request his reps. Not publicly, not in front of cameras, but quietly during rotations. Let me get that one with Sheduer. Why? Because they know the ball's going to arrive on time. Because they know the drive won't stall. Because they trust him. And in football, trust is currency. Here's the real irony. While the media still debates whether Sheduer should even be QB2, the locker room might already see him as QB1. That's not a stat you'll see on ESPN, but it matters. Ask any vet who's been through these camps, these competitions, these quarterback turnstiles. The guy who owns the huddle, That's the guy players rally around. And that's exactly what's happening. Now, let's zoom out for a second. What the Browns have here is a very specific kind of opportunity, and it almost never happens. You got a fifth-round rookie outperforming veterans. You've got a fan base desperate for something real. You've got a team with loaded defense and just enough offensive talent to make a playoff run if they can find stability at quarterback. And here comes Sheduer Sanders, the most unlikely solution to the most persistent problem this franchise has had since before Twitter existed. What do you do with that? Well, if you're Kevin Stefanski, you try to buy time. You rotate reps. You call it a competition. You let the veterans speak in pressers and say all the right things. You deflect, because once you declare Sheduer the guy, there's no going back. And that's the fear. Not that he can't handle the job, but that once he has it, the rest of your QB plan goes up in flames. But here's the reality. The job might already be his. It just hasn't been announced yet. You want more evidence? Look at the cadence of camp. Look at how the offensive script subtly shifts when Sheduer's in. More shotgun, more spread concepts, more RPOs. Concepts he mastered in college. You think that's a coincidence? No, that's preparation. Quiet acknowledgement. The staff is installing things that play to his strengths. Not Gabriel's, not Pickett's, and definitely not Flacco's. This is how transitions happen in the NFL. Not overnight. Not with a press conference. But with subtle shifts that tell the real story. And if you're Dylan Gabriel, what are you thinking right now? This was supposed to be your runway. The front office liked you. The coaching staff said all the right things. But here comes Sanders, with more polish, more poise, and apparently more trust in the guys who matter. Suddenly, you're not the project anymore. You're the placeholder. That stings. But it's the business. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. The media's love/hate relationship with Sheduer. Because this isn't just about how he plays. It's about who he is. He's Dion's son. He's got cameras in his face. He posts highlights with music and filters. He's part of a generation that markets themselves before they even play it down. And the old guard? They hate it. But here's what they're missing. Sheduer isn't just a brand. He's not selling you an image. He's backing it up. You can market all you want. But if you can't deliver when the mic is off and the lights are bright, that brand collapses. And Sheduer? He's delivering. Quietly. Consistently. Without needing to spike the football every time he throws a touchdown in practice. And that's what makes the backlash so confusing. Critics want him to stay humble, but he's already done that. They want him to earn it. He's doing that. What they really mean is, stay quiet until we're ready to accept you. But Sheduer's not waiting, because greatness doesn't ask for permission. Now, let's get real about what's coming. The first preseason game? That's the moment everything changes. When the reps are live, the cameras are rolling, and the opposing defense doesn't care about your name. That's when we'll know. If Sheduer delivers in those moments, if he commands drives, moves the chains, and avoids rookie mistakes, then it's over. The competition, the speculation, the waiting game, it's done. Because you can't put that performance back in the bottle. You can't ignore it. You can't unsee it. And that's when the Browns will have a decision to make. Not about the future. About the present. Do they ride the wave, or do they stall it? One choice wins games. The other buys time. And this is a franchise that's been buying time for 20 years. So here's the play, Browns fans. Watch every rep. Every preseason drive. Every throw Sheduer makes under the lights. Because this might not be the build-up to a quarterback battle. This might be the beginning of a quarterback era. And if it is, then everyone who doubted him, buried him in the draft, or called him a product of privilege is going to have